Well, hello, everybody. I'm so sorry about the delay, but West Coast, you're welcome. I know we got more people tuning in here on the west side of the country. Did a little did a little polling, found out a little bit about the constituents. How are you guys doing? Oh, guys, thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. Bethany, I know you've been hanging out for a little bit. You were probably tuned in at 7 o'clock. I pushed back to 7:30, and then I had technical problems. Actually, had some stuff with the light. This is me trying to figure out if I should shave my head or not. Just kind of done with it today. It's all good. We all have that days. Am I right, ladies? Anyways, so what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? What's going on tonight? It's an eclipse. It is an eclipse. You know, I'm going to talk about the eclipse. Sal, so good to see you. Yeah, Debbie, thanks for the high five about the Vikings. Yeah, Brian Flores, listen. Let's talk about Brian Flores for a second. So Brian Flores was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. By the way, Tua, shut it down, buddy. It's not worth it. I love you, but I got you on my fantasy team. But health first, bud. But Brian Flores was the coach. He said he was, when he was fired, he was like, it was a racial thing and so forth and so on. They weren't very good. They were mediocre. Let's say it that way. And the way he treated staff kind of came out and whatever. And then he got focused. He had to look himself in the mirror and say, okay, here you go. Brian Flores is the perfect person as to why you give a second chance to things. 100%. Now he's the defensive coordinator, not the head coach, but the defensive coordinator. Maybe is that a better role for him? That's where his expertise is. And guess what? They kick him butt, buddy. They got the third ranked defense on my fantasy team. Do I have Justin Jefferson somewhere on my fantasy? You know I do. Do I have Sam? Sam? You know I do. Darnold? Are you kidding me? AFC team is the Jets for me. So I've been following Sam for a couple of years. He's a grease fire. He's a bum. He's a whatever. No, he's actually really good. Just took him 4 teams to find the right combination of people. So anyway, so we're going to talk about the eclipse. If you're tuning in for the political stuff, I mean, it's so tiring. So tiring. I mean, you know what you see. And yes, those of you that are friends with me and follow me on Facebook and follow along with all that other hunky horse shit. I'm a bit of a pot stirrer, as they say. Isn't that what we call ourselves? Pot stirrers, right? And I know exactly what I'm posting. I'm not trying to alienate anybody, but I am interested in being able to make people think, to make people kind of go like, oh, what the hell is he talking about? Hey, listen, I don't know if you're on Facebook, but I'm going to invite you to my group. Yeah, you guys can jump into it. Hey, Jenny, how are you? Paula, good to see you. Yeah, hey, listen, that's class act. I like Brock. He's Mr. Irrelevant, and he's knocking it out of the park. Hey, Shasta, how are you? Yeah, Tua for sure. Is that a Sheila Evans sighting? I think it is. We are absolutely going to be doing some eclipse messages. We're going to talk about the eclipse, what it's going to mean to us individually. We're going to pick that stuff apart. But Melanie, good to see you. Hey, we got to connect with you guys. We've got some details in a little over a month. Oh my gosh, I've got so many shows coming up. If you're in upstate New York, please come to one of my shows. I'm going to be supporting the Oneida Arts Center this weekend. I'm going to be down at the Park Theater in Hudson. So if you're south of Albany, then I've just got a whole bunch of stuff. Those of you that haven't seen, I'm going to be at the Glove in Gloversville. That is a 300-seat arena theater, and it's half sold out already. I'm just saying. It is actually supporting local arts. So we are a big fan of the arts around here. Yeah. Hey, Carol, how are you? Good to see you. Melanie, look, just a heads up on that. Melinda, how are you from Texas? Gigi, how you doing? Debbie, hola, como esta? Don't say si, say we. What show is that from? It just came up earlier tonight. Well, hello, Tara. How are you? It's so funny. We're just you just popped up there. And then Jamie, how you doing? Matt, got to connect with you too. Outside of things, I'll shoot you a text. You'll see what's going on. Tanya, total shout outs here. And by the way, hello, Julie. Yes, Yes, it's the full moon. Well, it is the full moon. We're going to talk about the eclipse here. So let's dive right in. So what are these? What is an eclipse, right? The science part of it, this is where the Earth kind of bumps in between the moon during a lunar eclipse and gives you different levels of shade, right? It's the Earth throwing shade at the moon, going, "Yeah, I see that you kind of help us out and everything with all of our cycles and all of our tide charts and all that other good stuff." But then the Earth is kind of like excuse me, pardon me, over one. During a solar eclipse, that's when the moon kind of goes like right back at you, buddy. Good luck growing anything in the dark. And by the way, the April 8th eclipse took the boys out, whole crew, a team. We slept out camping style. It was fantastic. We had good food. We got out there. It dropped 25 degrees. The birds stopped singing. It was awesome. It was awesome. Now, this one tonight is a partial eclipse, but we're still going to get about 83%, 83, 86%, depending upon where you are in the U.S. It is starting in about 45 minutes, but we're going to use 10:44 as the actual eclipse time as we talk about the astrology of it. And then, of course, we're going to roll out some cards. We're going to see what it means for you. Now, the Pisces full moon. Let's go ahead and let's go to the action. Let's go to the Action Jackson's chart here. There we go. So this is the partial lunar eclipse. It is happening tonight. It'll kind of go into the overnight. Depending upon where you are in the U.S. Or in the world, this is where you're going to see it. This is so funny. I got this one confused with another, and I was spreading bad information earlier today to one of my buddies because she's like, "Hey, I'm going to catch the eclipse," and I go, "No, you're not. What, are you going to go to the South Pacific? When's your flight?" Oh shit, it's over us. Talk about like not paying attention. Now, I knew that the eclipse is coming up. I actually got it confused with what's going to go on in March because that is the next eclipse coming up. By the way, March will be when the Virgo moon gets involved. But today we're going to talk about the Pisces moon. Pisces and Virgo are in opposition, which is why the sun is currently in Virgo right here at the 25-degree angle. And then we have the moon here at the 25-degree angle. I'm off just a little bit for the sake of argument, though. We are at 10:44, and this is at the height of the eclipse. Like I said, you're going to see north of about 80% of the moon covered here. So what do we see here? What kind of a train wreck of Brandon, this is very interesting, but it looks like Charlotte's Web. Okay. A couple of things that we're looking at here. Anytime you hear somebody talk about a full moon, this is what it looks like. The moon is opposite of the sun. Now, in a vacuum, let's just say the sun and the moon are far enough away from any of the other, from asteroids, from planets, from anything else that's going to come into play here, and it's just the two of them. Let's just say it's just the two of us. We can make it in the sky, just the two of us. The moon and I. Anyways. In opposition, the moon just goes, "Give me all you got, baby. Just go ahead and lean into it." And then the sun's just like, all right, well, I'm just going to boop. By the way, the sun basically does nothing. The moon just basically goes, "Here, is this good? 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 Oh, it's full. I'm full over here." Hey, Tanya. Hey, Pat. How are you? Michelle. Ken, good to see you, bud. Trish, welcome back. I'm glad you got Wi-Fi down there. So here's the deal. In a vacuum, just the moon and the sun. The sun saying, "I see you. I see your emotions. I'm going to let you be emotional. You can do whatever it is that you want. Doesn't matter what sign it's in." It just gives the premise and the dialogue to the moon to kind of say, like, "I see you." Now you start to complicate things when you start to add in planets, when you start to add in aspects and angles and all that other good stuff, which is, again, why it is that it looks like mom's spaghetti right here, right? So you have the moon right next to, in conjunct, as we call it, to Neptune. Now the North Node, just outside of this, they're conjunct with Neptune, but not with the moon. But the moon, the aspect, aside from the opposition, is truly just Neptune here. So when the moon and the Neptune get together, it's kind of like what kind of dreams can we come up with? Well, 2.3 kids, white picket fence, everything's going to be okay. He's going to look like the Marlboro Man, but he doesn't smoke, and he's a doctor, but he never has to work, and he's so famous, and all he does is drive me around. And we drive around on Hawaii and sometimes in Southern California, but it's right around the corner from my parents, right over here on Beaker Street. Blah, 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 blah. You dream up the perfect scenario. Now the sun, the sun almost got away with it. Almost got away with it. Lilith, however, backed into a corner. Lilith, that rebellious healing mechanism of ripping out all of our deepest and darkest wounds, right? So Lilith in Libra kind of backs up into it. It's been backing up for a while. And then on the other side of it, Mercury's like, hang on, I'm coming. Just got into the purview of being conjunct. It's still 9 degrees. It counts. We're going to minimize it a little bit. But I'm going to tell you what that combo platter is down here between the 4th and the 5th house. The sun and Lilith kind of doing their kind of dance is kind of like, we have to work on some stuff right now. Oh, okay. All right, Lilith. Hey, Lilith, I heard you. You don't have to make me a sandwich. I don't need a rib. We're good. Like 5, you got that joke. Mercury is like, are we going to do this or what? Are we going to say something? Are we finally going to say something? Are we going to do something about our healing? Are we actually going to do something about it? And by the way, Mercury in Virgo is a high point of action. It's a very kind of like this is just what I do. Mercury in Virgo, it's they're all secondary planets in conversations with each other, but they're all best friends, right? Maybe not as close as Gemini, but yeah, we're cool. We're down. So you have Mercury kind of encouraging the sun to say, you could shine as much as you want. And then you have Lilith saying, oh, I'm kind of done with hurting. By the way, that's when Lilith and the sun get together, when you're ready to heal. In opposition to the moon and Neptune, it's a really pragmatic time to look at things for what they truly are. It's a pragmatic time to say, like, at some point I had to realize I was never going to be in a band that opens up for Van Halen. It's just the way it is. It's where it is right now. Rest in peace, Eddie. It's also realizing that you can't play center field for the Yankees. That you can't somehow, get traded to the Twins to help them during their one playoff run. It's realizing that you're going to have limitations and you need to be seeped in reality. It's also a great time to start to realize what you're good at. It's a great time to realize that you're a pretty good medium and you're kind of funny, but you're also a really good writer. So maybe that's what you should focus on. Maybe it's the type of thing that you say, I'll never get to Tibet, but I can start to visit local monasteries and meet Buddhists from around my area. It's the polite definition of being held back in a good way. It's also you being able to let go of the things that truly don't serve you. And this is a self-serving but not guilt-driven release. This isn't you saying, I really got to cut out the Snickers. It could be. I have had several people tell me in the last 3 weeks that they quit doing the thing that was holding them back. Drinking, shopping, running around, whatever. And they found themselves. This layout is part of it. That thing that was holding them back, the thing that they felt was keeping them from shining their light. Ask the moon to help you right now. This is a very forgiving moon. This is a very nurturing moon. Pisces is the 12th sign. It's also the most spiritual connection that you can have here in the 12th house. Now, just a word about the houses, the 5 to the 11. In the 5th house, it's about your creativity. It's a house of Leo, so it's about like charging forward and taking action. The sun is also very naturally placed here, right? It just feels good. The sun in Leo in the 5th house is kind of like what are we doing here? Are we just going to break shit? Are we just going to sew people up together? Whatever it is, I'm good. That meme where they say, We're going to do stuff. We're going to beat people up, and I don't want you to ask any questions. Let's go. And then they're like, okay, let's go. The moon in Neptune in the 11th house is really going to talk about how everybody's going to notice a change. You are going to start seeing a change. Have you not seen a change in some people? It's because of this eclipse. Between April and now, this has fed us this like turning over the soil, not putting up with nonsense. Some people have eliminated drama in their life. It's fantastic. Others are using their voice differently. Boom to the bing. Sometimes we have to recognize that change doesn't have to be painful. Right? It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be like, oh, I have to get rid of that. I have to get rid of that person. I have to whatever. You don't have to villainize something to move on from it. You just don't. Note to people in my past, I wasn't the enemy. And neither were you. You can grow and not forsake. You know, it's kind of like a plant going, oh, I finally poked out into the sun and I'm feeling good. Stupid dirt. You're going to need it. And guess what? You're probably going to need me. Tammy, hello. Mama, oh. Judith, good to see you. Stephanie, as always, fantastic to see you here. So, what does this mean? Now, in static, what I mean by in static is in this snapshot picture, you have this as a Gemini rising. You're also feeling very empowered to understand things, but actually grow from them. Oh, and by the way, you're going to see some people kind of come undone. And I'm going to show you where. Remember Algol? Remember our good friend Algol a couple of weeks ago? We were like, remember the day he got shot when Algol was in alignment with Uranus? And we backed this up to the 25-degree angle right about here. Well, that's sitting here in the 12th house. It's a fixed star, so it doesn't dance around. It would just be a permanent fixture somewhere right around here. It'd be like Cindy Crawford's mole. Like you would just stick it there. Maybe we should do that. I don't know. I'm full of innovation today. Yes, Tampa. See you in March, buddy. So with that there, it's sitting in the 12th house. This is why you're seeing so many people become unglued. You think tweets and truths are going crazy right now? Hang on. This is a reason. You're having a significant lunar partial eclipse. And by the way, the difference between the partial and the full, well, scientifically it's part of the moon as opposed to all the moon. And then on the other side of it, it's also the opportunity to in the full moon, it's basically saying in a full moon eclipse, it's kind of saying you got to take all your emotion out of this. In a partial eclipse, your emotions can kind of be like, but we're going to temper them. We're going to make sure that you're kind of in the right headspace to make these decisions, right? We're not just going like apeshit going, I don't like you, I don't like you, I don't like you. Time to clean up my friend list. Oh, fucking grow up, just delete them. Who cares? I'd like to make a public announcement that I've grown. Stop, cut it out. Also, quit posting that you fed somebody today. I saw somebody make a post that basically said, and by the way, I know friends watch this show, so I'm calling you out. Sorry. They got an extra sub at Subway because they prepared the first one wrong. And instead of throwing it out, they gave it to them. And then this person thought that they were kind of a keyboard warrior, kind of helping the world and changing the dynamics, and said, oh yeah, I gave them a turkey. It turns out turkey was their favorite. It's what their grandmother used to make them and everything else. And they're just, they just feel like they really made a difference today. And they were like, how fantastic. And I'm not taking away any of those feelings. And the only comment that I made is, what about tomorrow? You think you're going to catch lightning in a bottle again? Tone ourselves, right? But these are the feelings that people are expressing right now. They're expressing that they have this world of heroism. I've been bit by it. I'm a dipshit that ran into a burning building once because I wanted to make sure nobody was in there. When the fire chief got there, he looked at me. He goes, "You're stupid. I thought you were smart." And I'm like, "No, people inside." And they were like, "You had no credible evidence that anybody was even inside. You just took a risk you shouldn't have. Get your head out of your ass." Ooh, that was a wake up call. Thank you, old fire chief. Can't argue with that. One last thing about the eclipse. I want to point out how much Pluto is pulling the strings here. You know, talk about the big picture and kind of cultural change. Well, you have Pluto kind of weighing in on all of these different things, right? Without going into a lesson, which, by the way, let me get to in a second. You have squares, you have triads, you've got influences here for healing. And by the way, look at Chiron being at 2222. 1111 doubling up, self-healing, bam, in Aries, let's get this shit done. Right? So it's getting empowered by all these angles. Pluto is doing a hell of a lot of work right now in the astrological charts. Pluto is bringing it, right? By the way, Pluto's doing its work, so then, and look at this. Would you look at this? And then you have Mars in Cancer basically going, I got to say the thing, then I got to say the thing. I don't mean to stir the pot, but I got to stir the pot because I see some things here I don't like. I'd like to bring the family together so that then we can talk about some things that nobody wants to talk about. You're going to turn off your phones. You're going to close the shutters, and we're going to talk about this like a family till we're done. That's what Mars is doing right there in Cancer. Are you getting your personal house in order? Your career, your business? Getting rid of the nonsense? It's in the chart. Right? EA in the game, EA in the chart. Now listen, those of you that are been sitting here for the last 10 minutes going, it's really interesting, Brandon, but I don't know what the freak you're talking about. Well, let me offer a solution because I'm a solution kind of guy. Until October 1st, I have a class. If you sign up for it, it is just $222. You are going to get multiple weeks. You're going to get 5 weeks of classes. You are going to understand your personal astrology. I break it down. You understand each line item. You start to understand how it affects you. You are going to discover who you are. I guarantee you will find, I'm going to be a politician here. I guarantee you will find things in your chart that will be a personality plus thing for you. You'll understand what makes you tick. Like when I say it's in your chart, you're literally going to say it's in my chart. Let me show you. This is a very empowering class. And those of you that think that astrology is too complicated, nope, I've been teaching for almost 20 years this stuff. And guess what? I've gotten really good at it. I have a system in which you are going to understand it. We're going to pull it apart. We're going to break it down. That chart's the final. You're going to understand each aspect and how it talks to one another on how you tick. Kind of brilliant, actually. I'm really kind of proud of this. You're going to get a booklet from me. You're getting an understanding of it. And can I let you in on a little bit of a secret? Remember I told you I was a little bit of a writer? I'm going to go ahead and tease my next project because I got a couple of them. Yes, I'm still working on an Oracle deck. You're going to love this. Artist and I need to get back on the same page. It's all good. That's what happens sometimes in a project. I'm going to give her some feedback. You're going to hear more about that before October 1st. But I have a book coming out. Actually, I have a couple of books. Kind of like they're kind of like in a race to get together, and I have to go with whatever inspiration I get during that day. And this book is actually a series of it's a couple of 3 short stories, and these short stories intertwine on how people they're in their own world, but then they touch each other in that then of like interaction. But I'm going to do something really cool. I'm going to take the title characters or the lead characters, the primary characters, and create astrological charts for them. So not only can you understand what makes them tick, but then you can learn astrology as you see that this is the reason why the daughter would treat a father this way. You can understand why it is that this person, unbeknownst to him, just always ends up in the right place. You're also going to understand why it is that past lives happen and how they get placed with certain people and how opportunities for soul work happen. This is an incredibly deep woven series of stories, and it's just the beginning. because part of the challenge of putting this out is deciding how I wanted the first 3 to come out, because the subsequent 20 of them are automatically writing themselves, because these characters are rich, they're inspirational, and you can learn from them because you're going to have their astrological chart in front of them, and you'll understand why that type of moon would act that way. You would understand why it is that you have relationships or tendencies or work habits the way that you do. Oh, it's a lot of fun. And by the way, I don't know if anybody else has ever done anything like this. And I don't think you could do this without doing, 15, 20 years of readings. I'm genuinely tapping into my experience. I like to bring things to the world from my unique perspective. Yeah, Debbie, thank you. I can't wait to have you. So what I was saying is that this group in this class, you're going to get the advanced copy of it and actually be able to read it. I cannot make this, and it's $222, guys. It's $222. I mean, what is that? It's a down payment for a coffee. This is an excellent beginner class. It's very cool. Just go to the website. You'll see it right there. If you have any trouble at all signing up, just shoot me a quick message. tbrandonruss.com. And I know you guys are here for the readings. I'm here to do them. TB Russ. I'm just going to actually type out my name. tbrandonruss.com. And everybody wonders what the T stands for. It stands for the Brandon Russ. Thank you very much. Good night. All right, guys. You guys want to shuffle up and heal? You guys want to kind of do this? Gonna do this? Like, I'm totally jazzed about the cards. Oh, I had some more time to work with my Peanut Gang ones. And I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy with these. I'm going to shuffle them up because it's the right thing to do. It's how you treat your cards. Those of you that have been in Tarot 101. Those of you that understand that. Go ahead and start chime in if you're interested in a reading. And also, guys, if you could, share this with some people. Just say, hey, listen, this guy's kind of fun. This guy's kind of funky. This guy's kind of got some how do you do going on. I like his style. I like whatever. Or maybe, I've worked on it. Maybe you just want to be like, look at this idiot. And you said, I don't know what the T stands for. There you go. Hey, Michelle, Tanya, Rita, how are you? I got to get class out. Thanks so much for reminding me. Not that Carolyn hasn't reminded me 47 other times already. So the class, is it still processing? The class was 2 days ago. I have Stellium and Virgo. Does that eclipse touch me? Oh, yeah. Come on, girl. You knew the answer to that question before you said it. Carol, I'm calling you out. Hey, Laura, how are you? It actually, I do connect with people by middle names. So the T actually stands for Thomas, which is why I doubt everybody. So, hey, Lenny, how are you? So the Stellium in Virgo, what that means is that she has 4, actually 3. She could have as many as 4 placements that are Virgo. In other words, she might have her Virgo, or her Mercury in Virgo. She might have her Sun in Virgo. She might have her Moon in Virgo. She might have any combination of 3 to 4, right? Hey, Haiti, how are you? Hey, Colleen, how are you? I keep seeing your name everywhere. Hey, Kathy, how you doing, girl? Bethany, how are you? Bethany, let me tell you, you chimed in at 7:00, not even 7:01. You know I'm coming to you. You've been here for an hour and a half before I even got started. Jeez Louise. Yeah, so I just had some things to take care of. And then as I was, getting things together, I realized I'd broken down my studio for the garage sale where 2 of you showed up for. And then we had a great time. I had a great time putting my lights back in. I didn't know where my cameras were, didn't know where my cords were. I'm completely unprepared. Is it have something to do with the moon? You sure does. Oh, and by the way, have you guys also noticed that there have been like Mercury retrograde moments in the past 2 days? Anybody else have their internet go down or an email goes crazy or whatever? Yeah. So this is a little bit of, there it is, Mercury, Venus, and North Node, and Sun. Oh, Carol, my gosh. I'm a Pisces. I don't know if we're going to get along. Oh, and by the way, I have multiple cards in here. I have multiple decks rocking right now. I don't care. Spirit told me to keep them in. Okay, all right, that's what we're gonna do. Hey, Rach, how are you? So, how about our kids getting on TV? Isn't that great? Yeah, in Black Belt, you're gonna see that it was because of some sort of like Mercury communication interference, right? Um, so there you go. Water line backed up, dryer stopped. There it is. They teach me patience. Patience. Oh, Carol, is that why you tune in? I like your little therapy session. You're not the first person to call me therapy, Brandon. But I will tell you, I have the other thing about this eclipse and this full moon. By the way, this full moon last year, the Pisces full moon, I was on Mount Shasta. And even in my years of study and advanced knowledge and whatever, I still didn't really fully understand the full impact of a Pisces moon, Pisces full moon. It it is also the moon that gives you the out to say, "Holy crap, have I come a long way? Holy crap, I really am getting this. I've been a little too hard on myself." It kind of says, "I'm sorry, Virgos," but it's in opposition to you. I don't have to be 100% correct. I don't have to get it done. I can appreciate where I'm at today and not feel like I'm missing out, right? So listen, if you could, while you're watching this, if you're on Facebook, go ahead and throw up a like. If you can on the YouTube, put in a comment. That always helps the algorithm. I got to grow this. Got to grow this. So anybody in the mutables are getting affected by this right now. Virgos for sure. Geminis as well as Sagittariuses. Little lesser, but you're still going to kind of feel the impact because you're probably going to have a sun square, especially if you're at the 25-degree angle, give or take, because then you're setting yourself up for squares. So if you are if you're a late Gemini, if you're a late Pisces, if you're a late Sagittarius, like if your birthday's like, December 18th, this is kind of a tough one for you, right? Hey, Susan, how are you, love? So do your part. Help me out with that stuff. I appreciate it tenfold. I love doing this stuff. And sometimes people are like, because you do readings, do you find that you don't have as many people like signing up for readings, that sort of thing? Au contraire. I drop my prices because I saw people price gouging and just kind of jacking up the price. I like to do the opposite. So even though inflation is at like 14% over the last, I just went down in price, ladies. Jesus, you guys are terrible. All right, you guys ready to do this? You guys want to do this? Well, I want to do this. And how about this? I don't know where we're going with this one. Oh gosh, who was there for the end of it? Hey, Barbara, how are you? Oh, Lenny, look at that. I love that. So Lenny commented on YouTube. She said, "That's funny. I'm wearing a pair of shorts I haven't been able to wear in for, quote, no shit, 20 years." I love it. I love it. Yeah, groceries are absolutely out of control. Yeah, that's the small things are the big things, guys. All right, Bethany, listen, 7:01, you're on. You're just like, "Where's B? Where's B?" B was in technical difficulties in traffic. So here you go, kiddo. Look at this, right out of the gate. I don't know where I'm going with this yet. I got to figure out where my points are, where my spot is. So there's the Emperor. Sorry, it's got a little bit of a weird thing. I'm using a different camera. Wounded Warrior. Here we go. By the way, 9+ wands. 9+ wands lets you know that you're kind of you're almost at the end here. So you might feel a little beaten up, and you might be taking out you might be taking the high road here. You're trying to be like, I feel a little beat up. The Emperor card, coming in with the foundational 4, as I call it. You're somebody else's grounding, to be honest with you, and you might be taking it on the chin because of it. But don't worry, the universe has your back. They're going to give you the star card here. I'm not sure I love this new camera. This is one of my wide angle cameras, and I'm trying to break it in a little bit. So the star card comes in here. I'm going to tell you, there's a higher good here. There's a reason why you're going through this here, kid. Bethany, calm down. Calm down. Don't get over your skis. You got your whole life ahead of you. But you know what I really, really like? that you truly take the high road and you're trying to be principled. Guess what? It's time to change because here comes the death card. And we don't get upset with the death card, especially when Woodstock's involved. The death card here actually lets you know, change it up. Don't be reliable for everybody. Let them figure it out a little bit because you're taking it on the chin because guess where Spirit's taking you to? King of Wands. You take the one staff you got in your hand and you, my dear, you start swinging it. You start going, yeah, well, I got mine. What do I need to help you for? Are you going to help yourself? And talk about the higher ground. Thank you very much, Stevie Wonder. The Seven of Wands. And by the way, you know what this card is? It looks like it's like, ooh, hiya, hiya. No, you know what it is? It's you pulling out the card. It's you pulling out the wand and basically saying, right? This one's taking a higher ground, right? This one is giving you the opportunity to say, no, I'm going to put myself first, right? This is you being able to say, you know what? I'm going to go up here. I'm high. I'm pulled to something higher here. I get it. You're right. You might have some valid points. Ugh, but fucking, I'm done fighting. I'm going to take my big bat. I'm going to take my wand, and I'm going to say to you, I'm going to change. You don't get to you don't get to pick on me anymore. You don't get to say to me, you don't get to use me. You don't get to just keep me around for funsies. You don't get to just call me whenever you're lonely. You don't need to be like, hey, I'm going to call you because I got to dump all my shit on somebody. I don't like coffee anymore. Bethany, this is you standing in your truth and saying, oh, you don't know me anymore. You think you know me because the old Bethany might have been that jump point for you. Right? It might have been the idea that, you know what, this is a change. And sure enough, I'm going to go ahead and pull one of our starseed cards. What's the universe chiming in for? By the way, I love this combination. I love the combination platter. I love using the Rider-Waite. I love the Snoopy deck. You guys know I love the Snoopy deck. And then I love these star seeds because the star seeds are really a true oracle deck. Like it comes from out of the blue. Like it doesn't talk any of this language. And this is an earth sign. We are the Hathors. Deep love, mother's milk. Birth is a portal. People keep on talking. Hey, Bethany. I'm going to go down here to the bottom. I hope this speaks to you. Give me some validation if you can. Wow, this is pretty strong, kid. It's time for you to not to be pulled around, talking down to, used. And by the way, release. Bethany, if I didn't know better, I'd say you're standing your ground. You're using your abilities to be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to put up with that. Because listen, you got to stand your truth, kid. And how many times have we thought we were standing our ground and what we were doing was being used? That person is trying to get help from me. That person needs me to do this for them. Well, they don't call all the time, so I'm going to make sure that I pay attention to them. Yeah. Oh, you have Mars in Cancer in the 7th retrograde. So this is you looking at your friendships. This is you 100%. Holy crap. This is stuff I love. You guys are going to love the book. I'm feeling strengthened with the upcoming Mars in Cancer. I have Mars in Cancer, so natally in your 7th retrograde. Come on, girl. So your cards just matched up your astrology. And by the way, when your Mars return happens like this is you taking, everybody thinks Mars is like about war, and it is to a degree, but it's really about the action. It's about the boundary that you put up. It's about the step forward that you have. And many times in conflict, like the Seven of Wands, it's actually about not fighting at all. It's about posturing. The King of Wands, it's about posturing. It's about saying, no, don't mess with this anymore. If you don't want to be robbed, don't walk down dark alleys with bucks hanging out of your pocket, right? But there's also a way to carry yourself to be like, you're not going to want to mess with me, right? For me, it's being 6 foot tall. For me, it's being, you're going to move this, you better get a running start. And by the way, you're only going to get one shot. But that's the intimidation piece to me, right? That's what I'm talking about. It's intimidating, but it's more of, it's not to be a bully. It's to say, oh no, you don't do that in here. People in Bethany's universe do not bring in that garbage. Be gone. Old Bethany, maybe, not new. Not as she comes up on another Mars return in her 7th house because she's working with her relationships. And by the way, if you get through that, you're still on the friends list. Congratulations. By the way, I know that's grammatically incorrect. You need both quotes. But here you go. Rock and roll, right, guys? Hey, Bethany, I'm glad that spoke to you. Hey, and listen, Bethany, stay with it. I work with a lot of people in their cars. Bethany commented that things were kind of like she's been blocking herself on her own reads. Sometimes you just don't feel it, right? Sometimes you just don't feel it. That's okay. As a professional, you have to figure out ways to get through that when you're providing a service, right? But when you're working with yourself and you're just like, oh my God, I'm not going to rest until I get cat food or whatever. And then all of a sudden you turn the page and then you get yourself to a point. I hope this helps you come unstuck. All right, rock and roller. Good job. Listen, I totally hope you hang out, but she's been here for like an hour and 45, guys. And seriously, she didn't get the news and notes, upgrade. She didn't get the, hey, we're going to go a different way. The astrology class meets. Kathy asked that. The astrology class is going to meet on Mondays. And we meet every week. Now, if you can't make one of the weeks, you're going to get the recording and the booklet and everything anyways. You're going to have specific instructions every week on what you're going to work on. And it's very curriculum. It's very much like you're going to knock it out of the park. You're going to be like, this is who I am. By the way, even if you're a little more advanced and you kind of know some stuff, like Bethany was talking about her Mars in Cancer in her 7th house. So she's kind of done a little bit of the homework already. Even if you've done that, you're going to get the interpretation from how I explain how things kind of go in there. So if you're a little more intermediate, you're seeking out other takes on this and other knowledge base. So I love this stuff. I really do. All right, let's do more of these. I love this one. Hey, Colleen, how are you? We're gonna like this. Oh, there we go. One way or another. All right, here we go. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you a 6 of Swords. Now, what does this have to do? All right, cards. Your reading's over. I set this damn camera up differently every time. I don't know where to put it. It's like, Brandon, do you know? I suck at depth perception. I walked into a wall today. True story. Anyways, 6 of Swords. This is about the journey, Kyle. Sorry. It's about the journey. Sometimes painful, but at the same time, you're also got the tools to still get across the river. Knight of Wands. Rock and roll, kid. This is about changing your direction. Although a little bit immature, it is, however, the idea that you're ready to charge whatever the challenge is, right? Can't make this stuff up. The 7 of Wands comes up again. We saw it in the Charlie Brown card. Now we're going to see it here. By the way, I think you'll see it again because I got a couple extra cards in there. Who cares? This is one of my teaching decks. And guess what? This is about taking the higher ground. So from left to right, this is about the journey that you're on. Plenty of lessons, sometimes painful, mostly, though, kind of contemplative. How am I going to do it differently? Then you have the Knight of Wands, which is kind of like, okay, what are we going to do? This is a new mindset, right? So the Knights and the Pages are a little more immature. The Knights are masculine, so this is about action. This isn't just about like sitting back and going, are we going to do this? Oh, here we go. Knight of Cups. This tells me this might be about a little bit of a love thing. Might be a little bit about maybe it's a job, maybe it's kind of your career going, you know, gosh, it's I might be a counselor or a therapist or a caseworker, and boy is it tough, and I love it though. I love it anyways. Then we've got the Six of Wands. I love how it's the bats too, by the way. I just love it. Baseball Charlie Brown, football Charlie Brown. I'm in. How do you like that? How do you love the idea that the Six of Wands, and by the way, if you don't know what the Six of Wands are about triumph. It's about conquering something. So you're changing. Maybe you're looking at retirement. Maybe you're looking at a new job. Maybe you're looking at a dynamic in which you don't have to worry about. By taking the higher ground, this is you elevating your position because the Ace of Pentacles comes out. I think you're getting a raise. And then you're taking on something new. Whatever it is, this is where you go. Colleen, Breaker 1-9, Spiritual Seahawk 1 to Grounded Journeyman 2. How you doing on this one? Wow, that's a lot of fun. What's the universe kind of chiming in for? Here we go. Are you a healer? The Blue Flame, Spontaneous Awakening, Activation, Integration Time. If I didn't know any better, Colleen, maybe you're going to get into the whole, maybe you're going to dive into the connection of doing some healing work. We're all healers, by the way. We do it in our own way. Some people do it professionally. But the Blue Flame, by the way, of course I bring up Shasta. Of course I bring up the fact that, being connected to Saint Germain and being connected to Mount Shasta and being inspired by all of the ancestors, right? By all of the ascending masters. The Blue Flame is the critical healing point for everyone, no matter what it is. Whenever you see the blue streaks around the corners of your eyes, that's an angel saying, hi, I got you on this one. They're trying to make sure that when you rip the Band-Aid off, it doesn't hurt as much as it could. That's really where it is. So, Colleen, welcome to the upgrade. Welcome to the new age. To the new age. Welcome to the new age. Yeah, I'm well versed. It's good stuff, Colleen. Thanks so much for coming in here. It's good stuff, kid. Yeah, Colleen, if you can give me any validation on that, it's not about me, but I think people really kind of learn from this. It's also really good theater when people tell me I'm right. I'm just going to let you know that. By the way, 5 of you just went. There's B. There we go. Gigi, listen, they're telling me to go to you, but I think you're not going to like this. Now, I haven't looked at any of the cards, but I think you're going to be like, B, I'm going to punch in the solar plexus. And then I'm going to say to you, I got a couple of these things. Hey, Kathy, I see you there. And I'm going to go right here. I'm going to go 3 of Pentacles. 3 of Pentacles. We're going to push this down a little bit. And then we're going to, behave. I don't know. This is a wedding. This is a celebration. This is getting some on the weekend. I'm sorry. Was that rude? And then you got the World. Ooh. Maybe you like a little outdoor stuff. I don't know. I don't know what you're into. Well, listen, from left to right, this is about you kind of shoring up your relationships. The 3 of Pentacles looks a little kind of like deceptive, right? Looks like maybe it's a marriage kind of behind the scenes, or maybe it's a deal, it's a working, it's kind of an agreement. But you know what it is? It's not being public. So the 3 of Pentacles combined with the 4 of Wands, to me, is you're just getting ready for prime time and you're getting ready for the next step into the world. Right? Oh, mama. This is you getting your ducks in a row before you go prime time. That's all. That's all that means. That's a good thing in my book. And the world actually captures with fixed energy, like you were destined to do this. So maybe you were like, that's why you didn't give up on an idea. That's why you didn't give up on a relationship. That's why you didn't give up on whatever the challenge was. You stuck it out. You went back to set. You said, hey, listen, this is just you and me. This is just the three of us. This is just the eight of us, whatever it is. You're like, hey, listen, we're going to get this together. By the way, just in case you were wondering, the eclipse has begun. There's a reason why I pushed back my time. And no, I'm not going to go to 10:44. There is no way I'm going to do that. I've got a concert down in Connecticut to go to tomorrow night, and I might be a little punchy by then. But look, let's turn over Snoopy. Let's see what Snoopy has to say. What does Snoopy have to say? Ace of Wands. Not only is this a new, and by the way, when you see the aces have three things. Doesn't matter which suit it is. They have divinity. They have kind of sort of the invisible hand. They have the divine of past loved ones, oftentimes a parent or a father. And last but not least, it has the dynamic about your perception of the world. In this case, your perception is you don't give up. By the way, am I taking my time a little bit more with these readings so you get more out of them? Yes. I've heard your feedbacks. So the Ace of Wands. Oh, I love this one. It's Linus. It's Sally. It's the Two of Cups. I mean, this is really kind of telling me that this is Gigi. Listen, it's not Barry White's fault. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Mike King just put two of us together there. That's kind of cool. If you can give me some validation here, Gigi, like this turned into, and it was kind of headed there. Kind of had those how do you do's, but to get the Two of Cups is kind of like you made a decision, the lone one, and you're destined to be. This is where I look at the other people. This is where I look at the other people in the room. There's nobody else in the room, but I look at the other people in the room and I turn over the Queen of Spades, which is actually a Queen of Swords. But the fact that they call it Queen of Spades, which has a completely different connotation on the internet, don't Google it. I'll save you the point. Just don't do it. You will absolutely drop that. By the way, 8 of you just fucking did it. I knew it. You guys can't not do it. Like, what is a Queen of Spades? I don't know. Is it a Lucy thing? No. More of a Franklin thing, actually. So anyways, 3 of you just laughed at that. The Queen of Swords comes out here because this is about taking out the emotion. Thank you. Black Bell gets it. Thank you, everybody. You're welcome. This is super positive. This is you getting your stuff together. But remember what I said to you when you pulled this out. You might not like this. This is a call to action, and quit just worrying about being right. Quit worrying about being, like emotional. Like, don't get hung up like, oh my gosh, I want everything to be perfect. And what is the rest of the world going to look at? No. Kiss my ass. When the Queen of Swords gets together with the World card, it's kind of like I don't really give a shit what you think of me. I need to do this. This is my love. This is my foundation. This is what makes me happy. Hello, Pisces full moon. Hello, eclipse. Hello, let's go ahead and do this in the way that we're going to do it to make us happy. And I don't really give a shit if you like me or not. Kind of like doing these, right? Deep cellular healing, Arcturus energy, physical and emotional healing. Yeah. This is you finding your voice. This is you finding your passion, your love, and not feeling like judgment's going to be a thing. Listen, judgment and discernment are the fine line between things. I had somebody that I worked with for a long time. It's a full moon in Pisces, so let's just get it all out. And I bent over backwards to help them. 6 ways to Sunday, because it's what I do. It's how I roll. Right? Hello from Alaska. Okay, Black Belt. But this is somebody I helped out for a long time. And they didn't really care for where I was at in my healing. We'll just say it that way. And they judged me. They hurt me. They told me I was wrong. They shamed me. They whatever. And I was like, oh. And they kept saying it was discernment. They're discerning not to be a part of this, or they're discerning not to work with me anymore, or whatever the case may be. And I said, no, that's judgment. You're judging me. Discernment is understanding all of the options and then choosing. It's understanding that it might not be what you want, but it is what that person needs. I learned a lot about discernment when I went down to, I'm doing more, don't worry. But I learned a lot when I went down to Houston. I actually went to Joel Osteen's mega shitbox or whatever it was. And listen, as much as I'm kind of taking a swing at it, I wanted to see it with my own eyes. I didn't want to just judge it. I wanted to understand it. And listen, the grift is on, baby. The grift is on. But I'll tell you, the books are reasonably priced, but they're in a volume, metric there. They want to sell 10,000 books, not 1,000 books. So they want to get their word out. They see that as a positive thing. So, the hardcovers are $15, $18. The soft covers are, $10. And one of the things that I noticed, first of all, it was a well orchestrated thing. I have since watched the show that I saw the recording. I mean, and I realized, like, I'm going to see a show filmed before a live studio audience. And the musicians were off the charts. I mean, like, top notch, top flight, not a note out of place, man. And the flow of it was very much, and it had all the things that you see in the evangelical world. You saw testimonies, you saw healings, you saw whatever. Now, as a Catholic, I didn't see any communion. So I'm just like, you guys are missing whole things. And you don't get on your knees once? Like, what the frick is that? You get on your knees 7 times in a mass. Like, no wonder why you don't need to have those things. You don't need to have as many knee replacements if you're an evangelical. Don't say it. All of you just went, don't say it, B. Don't say it. But as I sat there, I noticed it. I was so busy judging anybody that was in that building. And you know what I saw? I saw community. Right or wrong, they fucking love each other. Patrick, so good to see you. Yes, Miguel, how are you? How are you, brother? And they have some sort of unity. It's their sanity, right? And I started to realize that there was a level of happiness for them. Now, is it ignorant? Maybe. Are they conscious? Sure. Now, those of you that have taken my classes, are they a 5 or a 6 on the conscious level? No way. Are they a 3? Maybe if they're lucky. Am I judging them for being somewhere on that scale? No, it's just a conceptualization for us to understand it. Take the classes, you'll love them. But this is an idea for me in my growth, was to understand that some people just need that. Now, I mean, I also look at them as an organization of hope and joy and, postulating and taking care of other people, and it's our responsibility. And I realize this is a big nut to follow. Like you gotta bite down hard, man, in order to get there. There's a lot of work to be done. Can you save everybody is really the question. Well, as I was leaving, I saw a homeless man right outside on the edge of the garage. And it was 82 degrees in January. Or was it 82? Yeah, was it January? When in the heck fire did I go? No, I went in November. So the temperature was fine. It was still kind of warm. And here's a homeless guy outside of a church that says, we're here to save everybody. Ha, I found my narrative, right? But I got to know him. I asked him how long he'd been homeless for, what's his routine, where does he live when he, has to whatever. He talked about moving around a lot, and if he got lucky, he could sneak behind and double back and, find a, spot because it does get kind of cold down there in the Texas desert. And through the whole thing, I was trying to figure out how to, donate my $20 to the show. I bought a book, and there were drop slots, and you could write down intentions. And I wanted to say something snarky like, "Thanks for watching www.tbrandonruss.com." Cha-ching! But every time I turned around, I'd see something different that I was like, "Oh wow, that. Oh okay, what's going on there?" I was slightly taken aback that he had everybody sign up, and he was having pictures taken with Joel. You can have your fucking backstage pass, picture taken with Joel after every mass. And I'm like, all right. And again, it's not about being tasteful, but some people need that. He lifts people up out of the gutter every single day because that's where they're at. A plus. You didn't open your doors during a hurricane. You fail. Now, should he have a chance to redeem himself? Let's start with the homeless guy that's living outside. Every single Sunday, he goes in for the 1:00 mass. Now, what about the 1:00 mass, you say? Well, this homeless dude said, I don't know much Spanish, but boy, do they look like they're having fun. They go, well, why do you choose that one? Well, because there's food after. Because their way of connecting with the Hispanic culture down there is to feed them. So guess what? He's smart enough to go in for the 1:00 class, get himself a good belly full of food, a couple of $20 on the way out the door, and he goes, I live week to week by hanging out here on Sunday. Now I'm going to ask you, is he providing for that homeless man? The moral compass just got real, didn't it? Even though Joel Osteen is sitting there smiling and taking pictures of people, he's still enabling a culture of people that walk outside that know full well that guy's homeless and he needs $20 to feed himself for a day. Why is he homeless? None of our business. What's his mental health status? No idea. How much is he going to drink with that? Who freaking cares? Gigi, thanks for the validation there. That is your life. That is your personality. Rock on. But don't you also realize that we have to get good at finding people and meeting them where they're at instead of judging them? By the way, for right or wrong, we have a former president that's incredibly flawed. His sin isn't his mistakes. His sin is his lack of learning from them. So now we have a system that was supposed to be damn near perfect. And then all of a sudden, we can't accept them for where they're at. We look at it, but what about in, what about in 2014? What about in 2008? You were dating so-and-so. Okay. What about back then? Didn't you make the mistake? Yep. What'd you learn from it? Tim Walz is fucking balls. Sorry. By the way, that's a t-shirt. He left his first wife and started a new relationship when he probably should have cleaned up the last one first, or at least didn't have an understanding. And you know what? It got a little muddy, and guess what? He raised his hand. He said, listen, I'm sorry I did it. Would have been a better look if I did it the other way, but boy, I followed my heart. I went where I was supposed to go, and she and I have created an incredible family. High fives. Here we go. I'm going to be happy even though it's wife number 2 and wife number 1. I didn't do it right. That's decision making. That's leadership. And again, this is an endorsement for the Democrats. And by the way, really, you're going to watch your neighbor and call 911 on them? Bad luck, man. Hope you learned from that too. We've got to start looking at the character of a person overall. And this is where we're going with this, guys. You have people in your life that you tolerate. You need to be able to tell them flat out, this is what I like about you, and this is what challenges me. Can we focus in on the stuff I like about you instead of the stuff that challenges you? I'm translating everything that you're seeing on the public political theater right now and saying it's showing you something. It is showing you something. How many times do we see something that's just absolute garbage and we say, so long as it's not that, it's good? There's your two political choices. And by the way, that's not being political. That's us avoiding the biggest atrocious mistake ever. If we believe in, if we're ever going to get back to the point where we can look at somebody and judge them on the content of their character instead of the color of their skin. If we can begin to say, are you qualified or not? I don't really give a shit about what school you even went to, let alone the color of your skin, your gender, your whatever. Why in the hell are we still tracking things in a census? I think we need some more readings. What do you guys say? Thank you for giving me a minute into these things. And by the way, thank you so much again for sponsoring the channel. I see you there, Patty. Wow, you guys are chatting up a storm over here. Holy Toledo. Hey, Kathy, I see you here. I'm going to find you. Yeah, Matt, I see you on this one. And Kath, I think I can't find the actual one, but I'm going to bring you up here. You actually mentioned, and again, thanks so much for supporting the channel. You were talking about a work thing, so let's kind of roll this out. And, I should probably put up the... I thought I was moving the mouse, but instead I was just tickling Woodstock. Anyways. Jesus Christmas, Brandon. What are you saying that for? Okay. So first card up is the Four of Cups. And by the way, I fully don't like this camera. Yeah, it's a little too pixie. Pixie the camera. So I've had this happen before. I've got to drop my cards again. So we go 4 and then 4. That's an 8. And then, oh yeah, here we go. What kind of Queen of Swords shows up? All right. From left to right, everybody, for the people in the back. The left is about FOMO. You feel like you're missing out. Should I be doing something else? Should I be whatever? Then the Four of Swords is about timing. This is about getting the timing right. This is about like, all right, everybody, take a little rest. This is also known as a Romeo and Juliet card because sometimes timing doesn't work out. But the Four of Swords allows you, and if you want to do a full interpretation of this is about your ancestors saying pumping the brakes here, right? And by the way, the Four of Cups is kind of like the divine part of it, is in like, you have 3 cups, which means happiness and celebration, but you're pissed that you don't have the 4th cup. You're upset that you think, well, if I just had the 4th cup, maybe I'd be happy. It's kind of the dog with the bone. So you have this like regret, and then you have this timing thing. So the instructions are the timing. Then the Queen of Swords, or the Queen of Spades, for those of you that are still looking that up on the internet. The Four of Pentacles are going to, or the Four of Cups are going to get answered by the Six of Pentacles here. This is a balance. This is a balancing act. This is you saying, how much do you need? Do you need more? Maybe if you weren't so tight-lipped about it, or maybe you weren't so conservative about it, maybe it would open up and make the things flow. Then the King of Spades comes out on the sword. So, wow. So this is kind of a change of approach of action. This is telling you to go. It's also telling you to take out the emotion of it. So you're coming from a place of emotion with the cups. You're coming from a place of emotion with the Six of Pentacles, as in like, hey, I'm trying to do the right thing and balance this. Kathy's going to be like, that's it. Cancel subscription. Four of Cups again. Why would this happen? You just saddlebagged it. You went from Four of Cups to the Four of Cups. Right? Why would that be? Gonna get yourself a bonus card. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe if you're a subscriber, you get bonus cards. Here it is. Page of Pentacles. Here it is, the Six of Cups. I'm going to tell you what this means. I just saved the whole thing. It's not about what you're missing. That missing part is actually your motivator. That part that you're missing is your ringer. You're not getting it because the universe is saying you're not happy yet, are you? Hmm. Six of Cups. This is about a new beginning. This is about taking what you don't have and saying, holy crap, this is what I do. Six of Pentacles is reminding you like you actually have everything that you need. But this, with the Page of Pentacles, is a new idea, a new value system of what you actually have, and learning to love it with the Six of Cups. Learning to realize that it's opening you up to a new opportunity. I like where I'm going with that one, don't you? Ooh, Kathy. So yeah, your work thing, maybe you're going to if you're worried about losing your job, I'm not saying if you are losing your job. I'm saying if they're coming to you and they're saying, listen, we're going to have to make some cuts, you're gone. Sorry. The good news is Spirit's got you. We're going to give you a new idea with the Page of Pentacles, a new way to form money, a new way to pull it together. And the Six of Cups is going to be, you're going to be happier. You're going to no longer feel unfulfilled with the Four of Cups. We're giving you the Six of Cups. We're turning the corner, kid. I think this is the David Lee Roth card. Jump in. Or is that the sisters there? Jump in. Andromeda energy, adventure, say yes to change. Girl, you go shopping for that new thing. You're like, maybe I need another power suit. Maybe I need new shoes. Maybe I need a haircut. Maybe I need a new hairdo. Whatever's. It's sweater weather. Maybe you get yourself a new sweater. How about this? How about you ride the wave that you put out there? If things aren't going well at work, it's because maybe you said I want to change. Maybe there's a dynamic to where it is we're going. Kathy, I'm going to tell you you're going to land on your feet. Kathy Riddle lands on her feet. New news at 11. You got to trust it. Might look a little different. You might be in a totally different career. Well, let me tell you something. There it is. Not happy with the office dynamic. We're seeing you. Or jump by Van Halen. We got the David Lee Roth comment. Oh, Pauline, I'm glad. I am so glad. Yeah, bonus card. So listen, you're scribe. That's where we're doing. Patty, how you doing? Hey, Patty, congratulations on the new thing I'm following. I got you. You feel drawn to it? I'm going to back you. There we go. Oh my God, I love that. Barbara, how are you? So it's kind of a new thing, huh? And by the way, Matt, I see you. We're good. I'm coming back around. Don't you worry. But this one's going to Barbara. Hey, Barbara, what do you think of this guy, huh? What do you think about this person? We're going to go strength. We're going to give you a little bit of failure to launch here, though, but we're going to grow stuff. And then we're going to get the Seven of Swords. Oh my gosh, this is the part where everybody goes, oh my God, is he going to take off with all of her stuff? First of all, don't leave any swords hanging around. So you had the strength to get yourself this far. You've been nurturing yourself, you've been working on it. But this dude is kind of like this guy. So here's the misconception of the Seven of Swords. Everybody thinks the Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. Ooh. Just to let you know, we love patterns. By the way, this adds up to 23, which is a 5, which is change. You're changing. You're going in a different direction. Misconception of the Seven of Swords is that it's something bad, something sneaky. He's running off with it. Well, here's the backstory of the Seven of Swords here. Seven of Swords. He learns of a pending war, and a war would not be good for him. So he thinks it can be, kind of handled in a duel and not a war. So he leaves 2 of the swords behind and hides the rest of them, so it's not a full-on battle. It's just a skirmish. What this means is to a person is that maybe he can take you down a notch. Maybe he can say to you, hey, listen, babe, take it easy. Ace of Spades, kudos on the new mindset that brought you there. 3 of Cups. That means that you're going off to the ladies going, guys, you have no idea. I had no idea it could be like this. Did you know you could have more than one in one time? I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just reading the cards. King of Pentacles. This dude's grounding you. And by the way, he's not a conflict guy. He's gonna bring down the conflict, right? Whew. Sorry to go a little bit quick there, but I had to sneak that one in there. Inner Earth. You'll survive with new solutions and beginning. Congratulations on the new relationship there, kid. I was just talking about the pickle aisle the other day. I always use that. Like, hey, you're going to meet him organically, like at the pickle store. So I went and I did a home party, and this woman said to me, she goes, yeah, you use that, you use examples sometimes. They're like, yeah, you'll be in the pickle store. Like, you'll be in the pickle aisle, not thinking like, I'm here for a dude. No, you're there for gherkins. And then all of a sudden they bump into you and you're like, hey, how you doing? And then you're like, I'm here for gherkins. And then he's like, hey, it was funny. I got a gherkin. I got out here. And then you're just like, I'm not into that. And then you're like, wait a minute. Yes, I am. And then you follow him out, and then, you save $1 million on, dating sites and all that other good stuff. Hey, Taryn, how are you? Hey, Judith, I see you there as well. Let's keep going here. There we go. Kathy, I hope that answered things for you. Congratulations on the new relationship. Next person, I just did that. Yeah, these Charlie Brown cards are lots of fun. And going back here, because you guys come up with really good things, and I really, really wish I could earmark stuff and go I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to go to this one. Nope. I don't have that capacity. All right. I know I'm going to find the person that I'm looking for here. I know it. Another thing that you'll also see and recognize with the Charlie Brown cards, notice how they're positive. No, the astrology class has not started yet. It starts a month from yesterday. It starts on the 21st. Is that a month? Just about, right? This is a real opportunity to kind of learn things from the beginning and from the ground up. So if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to shoot me a message, grab me down and listen, Matt, hey, you were asking about your crowd dynamics. I think you were switching things. Here we go here. Oh. It's a Van Halen. By the way, I would love to come out with a Van Halen deck. Dune, 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 dune. We're running with the devil. Matt's just like, oh, good. Thank you for picking me. And then you got the King of Wands, Me Wise Magic. And by the way, when you're a Van Halenite like I am, right? It's kind of a fun. And then you're standing on top of the world. Okay, guys, here we go. Matt, the devil card, as you know, I don't have to tell you this, but I'm going to tell everybody else. So everybody else isn't sitting there going, did he just get the devil card? Yes, it's about being bonded to something. It's about being chained to something. It's about a limitation. Maybe it's obligation. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's commitments. However, the King of Wands comes in, which is you taking charge of it. And then the very opulent Knight of Cups comes out. And that Knight of Cups just kind of sways back and forth and just kind of goes like, hey, listen, I'm okay. And by the way, somebody told me this the other day. Doesn't this look like John Travolta? Like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Well, you can tell by the way. So you might feel committed to something, but how you're going to get through this is to take control of this, because it's happiness on the other side. Queen of Pentacles. Lady, outside the stand, beside how much I love you. Queen of Pentacles shows up here. This is definitely a high commitment type of thing. You're taking the moral higher ground, but maybe you're a little afraid of the money. Then the King of Wands comes out with the Seven of Cups. Is it Seven of Cups? No. This is the Eight of Cups. I thought so. The Eight of Cups is the natural loss. Like, you know you're going to have to give something up. Therefore, you may be in a work dynamic where you're like, I really like this about it, and I'm going to be upset about walking away from this, but I have to take charge here. Your goal is your happiness. By the way, I'm already going to tell you this is a good outcome. You know how I'm going to tell you? Because with the King of Wands comes the King of Cups. Along with the Nine of Cups. This is about you having everything you need. This is actually a change in your financial situation, my friend. It's also you being able to connect the dots and say, I'm not happy, and how am I going to change it? I don't want to be in a position where I'm limited. I'm bound to this. I'm stuck. Right? This is a challenge. This is a challenge to kind of like let stuff go, because you've got to kind of get away from the devil you know. Right? That's what that is. That's what that really is. It's the devil you know. Where are you supposed to go with this? Star Brothers. Horus energy, protection, loyalty, safety, and trust. So Horus, of course, as we know, was the precursor of, well, the son of man. Horus and Set, if you're not familiar with ancient Egypt, Horus was actually fighting the Dark Lord, Set. So every day the sun would rise because Horus would bring it up. And then Set would win and put the sun to bed. It was a simpler time. The flat earthers love that story. But for the rest of us, understanding that the Star Brothers, Set and Horus, were brothers. They were just in opposition. So in a way, there's no clear win-win for everybody, right? You know how salespeople say that? Like, it's a win-win for everybody. And you're like, fuck that. That's not reality. By the way, see also what I was talking about with everything with the political stuff. Like, you have to be able to accept flaws and not villainize flaws, not think that it's like the worst thing ever. You know, and then you're put in the precarious position of saying, well, I actually think social programs are good. You're not conservative. Yeah, I am. Spend the money the right way. What's not true conservatism? Okay, thanks for your judgment. Kiss my ass. And by the way, this also, what this spread is really kind of capturing, by the way, is the idea that you have to realize that you're going to give up some good things in life to get rid of the not so good things. And then you're also going to gain better things that might help you along in your way that you'll need for the next part of the journey. And guess what? It's the Nine of Cups, not the 10. Guess what? It's the King of Cups, not the Queen. So you still got to roll up your sleeves. You still got to kick ass and take names. You still got to, you still got to bring it, right? Coffee is for closes. You know who sent me? Do you know why I'm here? I'm here because Mitch and Murray sent me. I owe them some favors. Do you see this watch? This watch is worth more than your sad-ass car. Hey, put that coffee down. Coffee is for closes. And you, my friend, are nothing of the same. A, B, C. A always B, B, C closing. Maybe I should get into acting. I hope that resonates with you there, Matt. What to eliminate this week? Okay, yeah, I get it. Yeah, the peanut deck, it just showed up online, and I got a couple of decks. Make sure I always have one. I love it. There you go. That's right, Susan. Because I'm easy. Samantha! Oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to be able to pop into one of the live ones. You know, Roth or Hagar? Roth or Hagar? Did you just ask me Roth or Hagar? Another dream goes up in smoke. Do you want me to really give you the debate about Van Halen? It's brutally honest. You heard that whole monologue? That's awesome. Thanks, Renee. Thank you so much. Here's the brutally honest answer. And people don't want to hear it, but when I say it, you understand it. So I saw Sammy Hagar. By the way, if you look right here in the upper left-hand corner, that is a Sammy Hagar jersey. You already know where I'm going with this. Now, I don't disparage David Lee Roth, but I look at them as two completely separate bands. Completely separate bands. So a little known fact, this is intuition. And I have done so much research. And those of you that haven't seen my office, my entire wall over here is Eddie Van Halen, red and black. Just to let you know, I love the man. I miss him every day. His son is the beacon of music to me right now. He gets it. And when I saw Sammy Hagar, he did, there's all sorts of stuff about what songs he can play, he can't play, any of that other stuff. And Sammy went on the road and he's like, listen, I got to make a living. And by the way, I'm kind of the thing. Well, here's a little unknown thing. Before the first album came out, Gene Simmons, that Gene Simmons, was like, he actually tried to get Eddie Van Halen to join Kiss. Could you imagine that? Like, he's off there tinkering. I mean, the thing that made Eddie Van Halen so good and what made him and Valerie so good is, I mean, he might have been a little bit of a rock star, but nobody caught his eye. You know what caught his eye? His guitars. So Gene Simmons pulls him aside, pulls the Van Halen brothers aside, and he says, listen. And don't forget, Gene Simmons was kind of like, I wear platform shoes and I have prosthetic tongues and, women. Where are the women? I'm here for the women. The women. Where are the women? That's what I'm here for. I'm a 6'3" Jewish man and I have needs. But he was a shtick, right? David Lee Roth was out shticking him. Wow. He's doing leg kicks and he's jumping in the air and he's throwing batons and he's... Oh, Gene Simmons, in a moment of jealousy, he said, you really going to go to battle with this David Lee Roth guy? And Eddie and Alex look at each other and go, yeah, he's our lead singer, dude. And then they said, I want you to check out this other guy. And they're like, oh, yeah, we know that guy. He's the lead singer of Montrose. And they said, just sleep on it for a couple of days. He's got a great voice. He's a great performer. He's going to bring you guys legitimacy right out of the gate. And I kind of know he wants something new. He's about to go out on his own. But he would totally get in with you guys. So, yeah, Eddie was 100% his own bird. And after a few hems and haws, they thought to themselves, we can have another guy in the band that's actually more famous than us. So this is like the clash of egos. So they ran with David Lee Roth, but they talked to Sammy Hagar intently and almost replaced all of the vocals on the first Van Halen. And as much as I think that Sammy Hagar version of Van Halen was musically superior to anything else, it was simply Eddie's maturity. And David Lee Roth had to sing about the immature things that he did. The difference between Van Halen with David Lee Roth and Van Halen with Sammy Hagar is the difference between the Page of Swords and the Knight of Wands. It's huge. But that Page of Swords, holy shit, did we hear things we never heard before. Innovation, let me do this to my Franken guitar. He did things that were just still. And on the other side of this, when you listen to the difference between their lyrics, David Lee Roth was, I ain't talking about love. Right? David Lee Roth was singing about everybody wants some. You want some too. Ease back between my legs. Right? Sammy Hagar was talking about standing on top of the world. Why can't this be love? Love comes walking in. the mindset of maturity is intense. So yeah, I'm going to pick Sammy Hagar because I like my musicians to be smart and mature. There. Is that my take on Van Halen? Can we do a couple more readings? Oh yeah. Eddie was absolutely all about the music. And by the way, as much as he had a girlfriend after Valerie, he was like, I'm never getting married again. That kid is the reason why I met Valerie. He stopped. There's so many great stories. I'll make this really short. So he's in LA and he's doing his thing. He's at the forum, and sure enough, people will come backstage and blah, 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 blah. Well, here she is with this little, show. She's on TV every Friday night. Her and Schneider are yucking it up, and she's just a pinup cutie. She wasn't even a model; she was a cutie. And Eddie met her and just went, "I don't know who you are, but I'm about to cancel the tour so I get to know you." And everybody's like, "Who the frick is this? What kind of Yoko bullshit is this?" And Valerie says, "I don't know. I'm not entirely sure who you are," because she works so much and she was in school. And then he goes, why don't you come to a show? Why don't you come see us play? Stick around, see us play. And sure enough, he's back there and he's kind of, really, he goes, what's your favorite song? And she goes, I don't know, whichever one you're going to play. And he goes, how about this one? And he starts talking about, ain't talking about love. Da, 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 da. And then she goes, wait a minute, that's you guys? She didn't even know that she was talking to Eddie Van Halen and she was smitten with him. I love that story. Anyways, don't back down. No, we won't back down. All right, let me roll up here. Yes, Ravina, good to see you, love. Hey, listen, we're gonna start to pull out on this. All right, Ravina, here we go. We're gonna get this out of here. And by the way, we're gonna do a couple of more here. Oh, one of my favorite cards of the deck. Ravina, thanks for showing up. Here is the Eight of Swords. Oh, and by the way, guys, I am working on something pretty intense for New Year's Eve. And just to let you know, you can watch me from the couch. How would you like an entire evening of readings and soul splitting healing? Queen of Wands comes out. Somebody's taking charge. And somebody is hellbent on their happiness. I'm loving this. Ravina, I haven't talked to you in a while, and then all of a sudden you show up and I'm dropping this on you. There's a like and a share on that one. Oh. The Ten of Cups comes out. I can't make this stuff up. I love it. Two of Swords. Where are we going with this? Wow. Can't make this up. Ravina. Hey, it's been ages since I caught your live. Pisces here, looking forward to good things from this lunar eclipse, as you should. Now, if you are a March 16th to 15th maybe even and up from the Ides of March north, you're going to be pretty close to the 25 degrees that the moon is at right now. So your moon and sun are actually conjunct. So your personal moon right now is new moon, right? It's kind of going whoop as the full moon. Oh, I love this stuff. So what are we talking about? We're talking about Sammy Hagar. Why can't this be love? You start out with the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is about trusting your intuition, trusting your gut, making sure you got it there. You're covered by the Ten of Cups, which is kind of like a, hey, every little thing is going to be all right. It's all going to work itself out. Then you have the Queen of Wands along with the Two of Swords, which is your way of saying, I'm going to make a tough decision, but I'm going to live with it. I'm going to be happy with it. It's a thing, ain't it? Wow. And then you have the Ten of Cups with the Four of Wands. That's the happy family meets the marriage. I don't know what your personal situation is. But I'm going to tell you this right now. You're destined for happiness. So if you work yourself out into a new situation, you got to trust your gut. You got to trust the understanding, who you are and what you're about. It's pretty amazing that you're manifesting your happiness the way that you are. Baby steps, baby. Follow your intuition before it makes sense. By the way, that's the Eight of Swords. 100%. If there's an equivalent there of that Oracle deck with the Tarot, there it is. And guess what? Guess what? You're worthy. Because the Queen of Wands kind of talks a little bit about what's been holding you back. Do you feel like you're not worthy? You feel like you're not there yet? Whew. Pretty good, Ravina. Thanks for showing up. Rock and roll, isn't it? So, Pauline, type in what your daughter's name is. Hey, Tara, how are you? Thank you. Heart taps as well. Moon making its way up above the tree line here out there in Minnesota. I can't believe we didn't connect out there. Hey, Mary, how are you? Oh, my gosh, Mary. Sedona is calling us back. My gosh. Pauline, here we go with your daughter. Anxiety. Sorry, Jasmine, we got a little anxiety. Right? Okay, calm down. We got a little conflict. Oh, we're letting it all out right now. Jasmine, I know we just met, but let me do my work. I know it doesn't look good. It's kind of like an artist. Like you start to paint something, you're like, what the fuck is that? And then all of a sudden you look back, you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's my work. Page of Wands. Boom! I kind of sort of love this. You know why? Because let me tell you something. You're coming from a place of anxiety. You're coming from a place from conflict, inner conflict. There is a really interesting combination here. Because the anxiety, the 9 of Swords, which is, of course, the 9th is kind of like a, hey, we're almost done here. Are we doing this the right way? You feel like there's something missing and that you've got to try and do it better. So you start this internal dialogue going, did we cross every T? Did we dot every I? By the way, the 5, this could also, you could say this is in and out. This is all the emotions getting into a fight with each other. Look at all the color combinations. And then the Page of Wands. Take one of these ideas and let's run with it. And by the way, it's not flashy. It's not fully formed. But you're going to need your intuition. You're going to need that anxiety to bring you there. Jasmine, listen. I got you. Your mom's even going to tell you, I got you. This anxiety has kind of left you out in the cold. The 5 of Pentacles puts you in a position where you're just like, this stinks. This stinks. I'm out in the cold. I'm the little match girl. I've got to sell all my matches before I get to go in. And guess what? That 5 of Wands, along with the 6 of Swords, is about a painful journey. I told you I got you, right? I don't mess around with this stuff. And I'm telling you, you're going to be okay. The Strength card comes out because this is about you finding your new direction. It's about you approaching things differently. It's a behavior modification. It's not just you saying it's a mindset thing. The mindset thing, don't worry about the mindset crap yet. The mindset stuff will come back to you. This is about doing one thing at a time. At first you do it for one day. Then you do it for 2. Then before you know it, you look back and you're like, wow, that was a month. And then all of a sudden, you have the strength to just take that one wand and not feel like you're at battle with yourself. To not feel like you're left out in the cold and you have anxiety that you've missed something. This is a small anecdote. When I was 7, the final MASH episode aired. And my parents were like, it starts at 9. You're going to bed. You're 7 freaking years old. And why are we letting you watch a comedy about war? And I'm like, because I like dichotomy, Mom. Because you've let the television raise me this far. Why stop now? Sorry, is that my outside voice? And I cried. Oh my gosh. I felt like I was missing out. I'm like, everybody's going to be talking about it tomorrow. I'll fast forward to St. Marie's in 1984 or whatever freaking year it was. Nobody was talking about it. Just me. But I needed to know what happened to Hawkeye. I needed to know what happened to Radar. I needed to know. I felt like I was missing out. So I had all this anxiety, all this anger. I felt like I was out in the cold. So I cried. I was upset. I didn't look at it that I would maybe not really fully understand it as I'm watching it as a kid. It wasn't until years later when I really picked apart the show and I realized that I thought it was a little like austere, that it was their title song was "Suicide is Painless." That you're numb from all the travesty of war. And that they had gotten to the end of it and they were exhausted. You don't take chunks of a war and deal with it. You take it one day at a time. Sometimes that war is external. And sometimes it's internal. Another fun fact about MASH was that in season 7, Hawkeye Pierce quit drinking and he broke apart the distilling gin. Because he realized he was just escaping with being drunk all the time. Do you understand what MASH is about now? Got to pay attention. Forge, don't follow. No, it doesn't mean that you can't follow some rules, but you're going to pave a new path. Be the leader that you wish that you had. Now, that's not a knock on parents, but it is a knock on the examples that you have around you. It's beginning to kind of understand that you have the power to take one of those conflicts and find it to be your beacon to help you change. Immature, new, helping it come along, maybe not fully developed, but you got the strength. You know, of all the cards in the peanut deck, that's the one that everybody's like, I wish it was something else. Let me tell you about the metaphor of what this card is. Where am I going to hold it? This is Charlie Brown being an outcast and still having the strength to go play with his friends every day. Charlie Brown was kind of kept around, right? He was used. He was whatever. Lucy would keep him around so he would try and kick a football. And then she'd pull the football and then he'd miss it and then he'd be like, why did Charlie Brown keep trying to kick it? By the way, Pauline, I hope Jasmine enjoyed it. Why did Charlie Brown still try and kick the ball? Why did Charlie Brown still try and be the pitcher even though they were going to hit the ball right back to him and knock him out of his clothes, which is still fucking weird. But here we are. Why is he going to have an ungrateful, witty dog that always seems to get the better of him and embarrass him in front of everybody? Why does he get Linus to be his best friend and create a fantasy world about great pumpkins? Why do they have banter about looking up at the sky and trying to figure out who they are? Charlie Brown had great strength because his friends were real assholes to him. To be a blockhead. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to cancel the Peanuts. These cards are great. But think about it. If we were going to see a TV show where you're unmercifully ruining a kid and calling him a blockhead and being mean, going out of their way. Even the adults gave him rocks. But yet he was like, yeah, sure, come over to my house on Thanksgiving. Now, listen, there's a lot of weird anomalies to Charlie Brown in the Peanuts world. I mean, he never had adult supervision, ever. The teacher didn't even speak English. Snoopy was smarter than everybody. But the strength of Charlie Brown kept it all together. And maybe that's why we fall in love with martyrs. Maybe that's why we're always pulling for the underdog. Don't you just want him to kick the ball just once? Don't you want him to catch the great pumpkin that one time? There are people that are facing things now that we don't even know about. Whether it be because of shame or just their intense privacy, they're going through it. They are taking every day, one day at a time. Or maybe they are taking it from understanding what it's like to have personal freedom. Or maybe they're coming into their own to doing what they truly love and they don't want to screw it up. They don't want to be the FOMO card. They want to hold back too much. Why are we here? Why do we hold the door open for others? You had a shitty day. Why are you kind to anybody? Because you still believe in the human condition. You find little joys. You find big joys. You find moments. Yeah, I recently walked my kid to school. Right? Oh, I love that, Jenny. Jenny, winner, winner, chicken dinner. He gave him the benefit of the doubt. Like, he never did a pity party for himself. He did a little bit, but it wasn't such a bad tree. Right? We beat the shit out of each other thinking we're going to feel better all the time. And listen, have you ever been in like a group of guys? Like, we just bust each other's balls. Like, it's just a thing. You know, whether it's like, hey, hitting the wings a little hard tonight, buddy. Or maybe it's a, hey, I ran into what's her face and boy, she says hi. Really? She said hi? No. We do that because we want to relate with putting them down while picking them up. And yeah, Pauline, I see you. I see her. And great job by you by saying that this is a good catalyst for her. Yes, I'd be happy to talk with her. And, you know, there's this idea that if we get it all together and we get our swag together and we get that job and we get that right situation, what's next? Live it out? Retire? Well, what happens when somebody tries to take it away? Your security, your way of life. And then we're worried and we're worried about losing it. Well, maybe it's not ours to have. You know, it's funny. Some of the best things that have ever happened to me, it's been because I've been shut out. And anyone that's ever said anything disparaging about me, anybody, it's because I told them no. Charlie Brown was so broken, he wanted love anywhere he could find it. Start to process that for yourself. Because you keep trying to kick a ball that you know is going to get pulled away. You're trying to look at the positive of a tree that's slumped over. You see the good in that tree, but everybody else is like, get the big aluminum ones. Do you know why he believed in the Great Pumpkin? Because his reality sucked. And he found a friend in Linus that was willing to say to him, I'm there. If there was one change in this deck, I would love it if it was Charlie Brown and Linus together. Right? Because that's real strength. Standing by the oddball. And by the way, flawed characters. You have Charlie Brown that can't get out of his own way, and then you have Linus with his blanket, his security blanket. We're just two lost souls living in a fish bowl. They had each other's back. Right? Right? Linus was his light. Lights, please. And Linus represented a deep faith. Linus is what the Snoopy, what the Peanuts characters are really all about. It's not Charlie Brown, although it is Charlie Brown. It is Linus, because he pulled on ancient wisdom. He pulled on ancient wisdom to say, here is a story, a fable. Here is a religious connotation of faith, of being able to love one another, that overcome adversity at any given time. And here's Linus saying, believe in this story, believe in this ancient story, historical, religious, whatever way you want to say it. If you don't pull the strength of Mary from the birth sequence in the Bible, you're not paying attention. Right? Linus believed in Charlie Brown. And we all need to have somebody believe in us. Sometimes they turn you into the villain. And sometimes, well, sometimes they remember full well where they came from. Do you think Charlie Brown remembers where he comes from? No question of that. By the way, we're going into Libra season. Here's the Justice card. She pulls the football from him. And by the way, we're all about to go outside and go take a look at the moon. Hope the overcast goes away. Here's you guys checking out your eclipse. Right? And let's not forget. And behold, appeared a star in the city of Bethlehem. What are we chasing here? Am I being religious? Am I trying to tell you Christianity's it? No. What I'm trying to tell you is what drives us is that we believe in something bigger than ourselves. It's coming back, guys. Your belief in the stars, the cosmos, the belief in Linus, the belief in Charlie Brown, the belief in the human condition. You can look at it negatively. You could write Charles Bukowski novels all day long about what you're seeing right now. It's ugly. It's horrible. You could also kind of take it as it is and write a Vonnegut novel and say, and so it goes. Or you can write a story about how we're all players in each other's lives, and thank goodness we are. Here's your heart tap, guys. Get outside, see that eclipse, make the changes for yourself, and keep going. See you guys soon. No live tomorrow night. I will be in Fairfield, Connecticut, front row to see Doug Pinnick of King's X. If I catch his eye, I'm leaving you all. Love you guys. Keep going.